today. Today is actually the first episode of the Alana Magazine podcast. I have the jitters right now because I'm so excited. We've been working on this thing for quite some time, and now the day is here.
Mhm.
And I am with my amazing guest, Fatima Alhussein. Fatima, would you like to tell everyone hello?
Hi, I'm excited to be here and thanks for having me. I feel honored to be the first on the first podcast.
The
So I'm excited.
first.
Yes.
It's amazing. And for those of you who don't know about Alana Magazine is a sector of the Alana Project. And the Alana Project is a Web3 educational project centered around the virtual persona Alana. So now that we are here today, Fatima, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Um, let's start off with what is the most meaningful item that you are wearing today?
I'm wearing my lace maxi cardigan. It's a full length cardigan. This was actually my first design when I first started designing back in 2016. So it holds a special place in my heart. This also like gives me inspiration for like what's to come, and like marks a like significant time in my career. Um, it allows me to like appreciate different parts of fashion and also like where fashion is going. So, the merging of
Ooh.
like fashion and tech, it puts me in like in a whole different place, and I'm just excited for what's to come. So my
I
lace
guess
maxi
like my
cardigan.
question nice. I think my
Yeah.
question is like, how did you design it? Like, what went into it? Did you have to like use anything like 3D or AI? Like, how did that work for you?
So back in 2016, I had no idea AI was a thing. So I was just doing
Right.
things old-fashioned way. I was like sketching, and then I found a manufacturer on Alibaba, and from there we went through like the sampling process. So like fast forward to today, where like that's like a whole different process, where there's different ways, different avenues to approach it. So I could like create my design in 3D, or put out a sketch, and then there's so many ways to do it. Like I could just do like a digital version, and show my
Yeah.
customers if this was something they were potentially interested in, before going to sampling, and then also this would also help like the advancements in tech and fashion now could also streamline the sampling process because it's so time
Yeah.
consuming and it's so financially straining. So
Yeah.
so many
That's so
things have changed, but like
exciting.
yeah, back then it was like back then for me, I guess maybe some people were already implementing AI then, but for me it was just like I didn't know it existed, or it was
Yeah.
a thing. So yeah,
I think it looks gorgeous. It's so beautiful.
thank
I
you,
love it. For
thank
me,
you so
I would
much.
say the of course, the most meaningful item I'm wearing today is this halter top. It's crochet. I crocheted by hand, I think with like acrylic yarn because I just started in January. So I'm like, shoo. Like I want
That's
to
so
wear like
cool.
right? Like I want to wear items that like I made by hand. So I feel like
Mhm.
what you're wearing is so beautiful and it's so inspirational. Like I don't really
Thank
have
you.
a lot of experience in fashion design, so I feel like this could be a fun step forward and to learn with tech
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, definitely.
So, my next question for you is what is AI fashion? Like, could you tell me a little bit about your craft? Is it AI fashion? Is it UI, UX design? Could you specify and what that may mean?
Yeah, so AI fashion to me is just the merging of fashion and tech. Um, Basically, I see it as a tool to help like streamline different parts of my business and kind of educate people on how to um, ignite their creativity and how to design, and it creates a like customer centric way of looking at business and fashion. So to me, AI fashion is the future. Um,
Ooh.
and UI UX is something I feel like UI UX is that was a job I held for a while, but really it's like everything in life. It's everything that
Yeah.
we use. It's our phones. It's my computer. It's just anything that we can touch or feel or look at. Uh, UI to me is it's important because you want to be able to make sure it's something that's attractive, something that's
Hmm.
something that you can see and touch. And then the UX is how much you enjoy using this application or product, and that just makes you want to come back for more. Basically, if it's a good product or if it's a good application, the experience of it all is what keeps you wanting more, and the utility of it.
Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
also it has to be pretty. So the interface has
Of
to be
course.
pretty.
Attractive.
uh,
So
yeah.
how might this like your how has your experience in with UI and UX, how has that affected your relationship and your experience with AI fashion?
Um, It's about aesthetics, I think,
Mhm.
especially with AI fashion. What I notice with like posting, everybody wants to look at something that's pretty, and that just kind of
Mhm.
hand in hand with the UI aspect of it. And clicking through the photos or clicking through different things, it gives people just it inspires people, and it gives people like an outlook of like what's possible.
Of course.
So yeah, definitely. I think the UI UX and AI fashion are hand in hand, especially on like LinkedIn, where like when I first thought of LinkedIn, I didn't think people were posting images on there.
Yeah.
But because it was just like all like text and like job updates. So once I started doing that and I realized like how many people like actually really enjoy looking at pictures and looking at these things and like scrolling through them. You can post one photo, but like just to gain that engagement and experience for the audience is
Mhm.
just posting multiple photos and images.
I think that's the cool part about LinkedIn is the fact that it's not just about like job updates and who's hiring.
Mhm.
It's more so like it kind of puts the ball in your court when it comes to presenting your craft, and it allows you to collaborate. Like even if you're not looking for a job, even if you're not looking for an employee, you could just put yourself out there. You can say, "Hey,
Mhm.
this is what I'm working on. Like, if you guys want to join me, cool. If not,
Mhm.
cool. But I'm still putting out my craft." So I think that's what's really cool as well about LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah. My question is, and I think maybe this is the perfect time to pull up your artwork. Let's see.
Yes.
That is gorgeous. That is
Thank you.
gorgeous. So, for those who don't know, this is Fatima's beautiful artwork called Blossoming Earth. It is featured in the Alana magazine, and I just felt like it's so moving and it's so beautiful. And I want to know, Fatima, like, what went into creating this beautiful image for the magazine, and what inspired you?
My inspiration came from just the essence of like nature, and
Mhm.
then also like sustainability in the fashion industry. So um, I think there's a lot of work to be done
Mhm.
with fashion and maintaining sustainability, whether that's like with fabrics or sourcing fabrics. But I think there's been just like a huge awareness. More people are aware of you know, what's going on, the carbon emissions, and
Mhm.
that's, I think, a huge step in the right direction because people didn't know what was going on. It was just like
Yeah.
a lot of consumption. And that kind of
I did
like, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I am excited, like, about this topic because, like, I didn't even know what was going on. I didn't know that fashion, that there was a waste problem.
Mhm.
So, it was, like, very, like it blew my mind just to even find that out. So, I feel like this is very educational.
Yeah, and I definitely, as somebody who like worked with manufacturers and like where they have an MOQ of like 100 pieces for design, it just kind of puts things into perspective of like how that's even happening. And obviously, I'm
Yeah.
I'm a small business, so like the bigger guys are doing more production,
Uh-huh.
so it just makes me like pull back and like really think about the process and every little step because every little step matters.
Of course, of course. I think it's so beautiful just with
Hmm.
um how detailed this image is, this artwork. Um,
Hmm.
I think it's gorgeous. I love her hair. I love the earth aspects because
Yeah.
the Alana magazine, like the first edition, is the Earth edition. So
Hmm.
just to see how you incorporated earth elements into
Hmm.
your artwork it's so beautiful.
Yeah. So the trees represent the nature, and then the clothing, which is also made of like moss and different forms of nature, represent like the fashion industry. So
Mhm. Mhm. I can
yeah.
imagine that as well, especially, like, going back to sustainability, like,
Hmm.
what can we do, um, what can each of us do in our own lives, in our own with our own habits that can help fight and combat this sustainability issue, or support the sustainability in fashion, and I think that even, like, knowing how to design your own garments and how to make your
Hmm.
own clothing can be, like, super helpful.
Right.
Everyone has their opinion, but I think, like,
Yeah.
even, like, with crocheting, like, I feel like that could be a fun solution as well.
Yeah. I love that, and I'm on Etsy as well, and I see all these like handmade designs, and I love that. But I think it's
Mhm.
also um, reusing stuff
Yes.
for clothing that you have, or like repurposing things.
Yes.
I'm slowly trying to do that. It's definitely a process and a journey on its own, but I like getting back into like sewing and trying to like figure out how do I like
Ooh.
do more things, because I kind of stepped away from that for a little bit because I was working with manufacturers. So now I'm like, okay, how can we like, do this on our own, or like make this different, or make this more like, something I could wear today.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I feel like knowing that, like, you had that touch, that handmade, that handcrafted, and not saying that, like, manufacturing is bad or anything like that, no judgment on that.
Mhm.
It's just
Right.
like I there is a special place in my heart for, like, clothing that has been, like, handcrafted, handmade, so there's an
Mhm.
appreciation for that for sure. Um,
Definitely.
so my question for you is, because since the Alana project is about Web3 and it's an educational platform about Web3, I want to ask you, like, what do you know about Web3? And just to let you know, like, I don't know, like, I'm not an expert or anything like that. So
Yeah.
do not be afraid. But what do you know about Web3?
Honestly, I haven't really spent much time
Hmm.
in Web3 or played with it at all. But to me, I imagine it as like a playground, um,
Ooh.
where people can shop or do anything they'd like to do or research,
Hmm.
and they could shop using blockchain, um,
Hmm.
and while doing that, they're at peace knowing that like no one's really like watching them or tracking what
Yeah.
they're doing, you know? So that's all I know about it. I want to learn
Okay,
more about it, but that's just like
absolutely.
my like little definition.
Of course. I feel like that's
Yeah.
what's so amazing about the Alana project is the fact that it is like available for anyone to learn. You don't have to be an expert. I've been learning. I'm still not an expert. I still am a little bit fuzzy with certain things, and but that's
Mhm.
why this is an educational platform. For me, the way I look at Web3 is it's almost like a way of handling things, a way of like handling transactions. I imagine and I think that Web3 is about ownership ownership over like your digital work, like so say for example like with blossoming earth and how beautiful it is. It's like with web3, you're able to own that and say like this is my artwork. That's
Mhm.
kind of like how I understand that is like, you know, would say for example with Facebook, these types of platforms, a lot of your a lot of the stuff that you do post, it can be seen as like their property. But I do feel like Web3, it allows people more freedom, more ability to create and to have peace of mind to know that, you know, this is mine, this is my artwork. And if you would like to
Mhm.
purchase it, absolutely. If not, cool. But this is still like an ownership aspect of mine. So I think that's what's so cool, even with the Alana magazine, is that it, if you purchase the Alana magazine, um, that copy that you purchase, that's yours, like to own,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
because you purchased it, and so
Yeah.
I feel like that's one thing that has been really like cool with learning about Web3. Again, I'm not an expert. I'm not an
Yeah.
expert.
But I also kind of like piggybacking on what you're saying, kind of just like triggered a thought where just like it's like a safe place for creatives.
Mm.
Um, 'Cause
Yeah.
I kind of yeah, and I think essentially that's what people want, you know. They want to
A
feel
safe
like
place.
yeah,
I feel like,
it's
yeah, especially like if you're a creator or an artist, it's like you want to put yourself out there and you want to show, um you know, this is my work and it's available for purchase, and you want it to like you want people to know like this is still mine, but I'm gonna let you purchase it. Okay,
yeah.
so there's a question I see. What's your process? What are her plans for her work? Wearables? Ooh.
Oh man. Um so right now I'm like incorporating fashion and tech into like what I'm doing. I kind of like struggled with that a little bit because I was kind of established, I guess, and I didn't know how
Mhm.
I was going to implement it. But there's just like that, like right now, I kind of feel silly saying that, but I know how I felt in that moment where I felt like kind of stuck. You know, I didn't know exactly
Mhm.
how to like move forward and like merge fashion into my business or or merge technology into my business, my fashion business. Um,
Mhm.
but there's just like so many tools out there. You know, it is a little overwhelming, but like essentially you just gotta find a problem you're facing and find that tool that could help you solve that problem. And in today's world,
Absolutely.
with all these different tools and AI, um,
Mhm.
it's just easier and more user friendly as far as somebody who's like not really in tech or you know, just getting into it. So
Mhm.
my background's not technology, but
Mhm.
I like tittle tattle in it here and there, and now I'm just like, I love it. This is great.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I want more.
So
So,
yeah.
uh, sorry, I forgot the other part of the question.
I think they asked about wearables. Like, would you ever be interested in creating wearables? So I
Um,
imagine it's like an AR, VR type of thing where
okay. I think that'd be so cool. I just don't know. I just don't know, like, where I would even start with that, but I feel like that's kinda how I feel about everything, and then once you start, you just kinda go
Mhm.
from there, but,
And then you're
um
there.
yeah, exactly, so, I mean, that's something I definitely would look into.
Okay, this question is, would you ever be interested in digital, even though your work is more sculptural?
Um, I think so. That kinda ties in with, that last question a little bit, definitely interested in it. I've realized that you have to really keep an open mind, um, with all this innovation. Because if you're not in that direction and everybody else is heading in that direction,
Mm.
you're kinda just, like, behind and you're kind of you don't wanna be a dinosaur.
Yeah.
So I'm open to, like, all that, I think it's all awesome.
Ooh. It says, "Thank you,
Thank you.
Fatima, for your beautiful work. Tell us about your inspiration. I just joined, so I might have missed it."
Um, a lot of things inspire me. It kinda depends on my mood.
Of course.
Nature definitely inspires me. I love being in nature. I love looking at past work I've done. For example, the lace maxi cardigan I'm wearing. It
So
has
beautiful.
so this is across like both sleeves, and then the bottom hem is also this viscose lace. Um, so yeah, my inspiration comes from kind of random things. Sometimes it's food, sometimes it's nature. It's just kind of what I'm feeling that day. And then I think I think some people get inspiration kind of they think it has to be something really complicated, but honestly for me it's like something
Mhm.
really simple, like I don't know, it could be
I like
anything.
that. I like
Yeah.
that. I do agree. I think that's such a really good point because I feel like sometimes, like, we can overlook things, and as human beings, like, our minds can overcomplicate things, so
Mhm.
sometimes it is just as simple as, like, something like looking at a rose or
Right.
admiring the trees, and it allows
Mhm.
you to, like, appreciate the details and even that the most simple things, so I like that.
Exactly.
Says there is Manny in the community that can help you with wearables.
Oh,
Ooh,
awesome.
look at
I'm
that.
on Discord, I'm on
Connected.
LinkedIn. Yeah, I know. I love that, and that's seriously, that's so awesome, and I think that was, like, one of the things where it's just being a part of a community, you just, like you're connected with so many people in different parts of the industry, but who are also interested in just AI in itself and then fashion AI, so there's just so much, like, opportunity
It's
out
so
there.
exciting. It's so
Mhm.
exciting. Okay. Yes, I put your links in the chat. They will be available with the description of the video as well. Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
Awesome. Amazing. Okay, so I guess my next question I want to ask you is what part of your creation process is your most favorite?
Lately, it's really been the problem-solving aspect of it,
Uh,
so yeah, it's I really enjoy, finding solutions to things I'm facing, like, within my business, so for instance, I do, like, print on demand, so basically, once I do that, I'm able to print or get these designs on models, and they're all virtual, models. There's, like, different applications you can use for that, but what I was finding that
mhm.
was, like, lacking in the industry was, like, people who look like me. So,
Mm,
um, that's just an example of kind of something I faced, and from there, I was able to, like, use AI and generative AI to, um, make that happen. So, it was
amazing.
I know, I was just, like I was so excited, and then I realized I'm like, "Oh, I wonder if, like, somebody else is facing this problem and they just don't know anything about AI," because in my mind, I kind of think that everybody knows about AI and generative AI,
Yeah.
but not everybody does. It's just like this community that we have, and sometimes we think that's like the world, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not everybody. So, um, yeah, I decided to like share that with others, and people were really excited about that. So the problem solving, just like it's really exciting.
I think so, yeah, like, there it is. I get what you mean, like, sometimes when you're in your own circle of
Hmm.
information, like, it can be easy to think like, "Oh, yeah, you know this, right?" But there are people who don't know, and you're that missing link for them, and,
Yeah.
like, that's what helps bring people together, so, yeah, I can see what you
Hmm.
mean about that. Because even I like, for me, like, I for some reason, I think that everybody knows about AI. But
Yeah, I
I
do
forget,
too.
right?
It's our world, so we just assume that, it's everybody else's world as well, but it's not.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So my next question is, has there been any major learning experiences in your journey? And if so, what specifically did you learn about yourself as an individual?
Um, I've had a few different learning experiences. I think one that sticks out to me the most is just like limiting myself and not limiting myself on different aspects, whether
Mhm.
that's like tools or concepts. So sometimes I get hooked on like, the designing part of it, but I don't
Mhm.
realize that like, or I didn't realize, this is more past tense me. I didn't realize that like, if I like step out of my comfort zone and maybe create an LLM or a model and Hugging Face, that like I could really just do something that's really awesome, and like, the
Mhm.
utility is amazing, and I can get others to use it.
Mhm.
So I think challenging myself has been something that I've learned, just putting myself out there and like not limiting like tools or based off like what I think is
Mhm.
interesting, because sometimes you don't think it's interesting, but once you like dive into it, you're like, oh,
Wait a minute.
this is pretty cool. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, but yeah, that was
I think that's
definitely.
what I think that's what's so cool, even, like, when it came to for me, like, I was on the tech side, but I did like, my first love, like, when it comes to crafts, like, was fashion. I've always wanted to learn more about fashion, and then I was
Mhm.
like, "Is there even a way where these 2 can ever meet?" And so to learn about, like, all of these different tools like Blender. And touching on Blender, we do have another question in the chat. It says, "What programs are you most comfortable with using to build your work? Are you mostly using Blender?"
I've actually never used Blender.
Okay.
I was like Google search, but I don't know what that platform is. But what tools I use now, I'm a OG Midjourney user. I love
Ooh.
Stable Diffusion applications like ClipDrop. I also use more recently, I've like created my own LLM. So I've used like different technical or tech tools.
Oh my gosh.
Um, so yeah, those are the tools that kind of I've used recently. But also, I think the cool part of like AI and how like it's advancing in many aspects. A lot of applications are starting to implement it. So I've been using Canva. I really enjoy using Canva. They have
Mhm.
a lot of apps on there like Dolly and that you can incorporate into like your post or
Oh,
into your
wow.
work. So those are the top, I think, four that I use, but
Mhm.
that I always go back to. Those are like my routine applications. I haven't been on Midjourney for a while, but I do hop back on there sometimes. Yeah.
Awesome. So, what advice would you give to someone who is curious about AI fashion and who's curious about fashion tech in general as well?
I would say join a community. First and
Mhm.
foremost, um, I would say try using different tools, maybe take online courses, um, and just always create things and constantly create things because you'll never know what you'll like find. Um, but yeah, I think
Mhm.
joining a community is top because in my journey, I didn't know where to start, and I kind of felt like maybe I was the only one. I didn't know. I knew about fashion, but I didn't know too much about tech. So I'm like, I'm also a
Mhm.
woman. So I'm like, is this?
Yeah,
I'm like, a minority as it is, and I'm like, how do I get into this world? So LinkedIn was definitely a place to a great, amazing platform where you can
absolutely.
join so many communities, even if you're whatever your niche is, whether that's fashion or just tech and whatever it is. Have you
Absolutely.
tried the
But
Photoshop? Sorry,
yeah,
go.
I was just gonna say this is our
Um,
last question before we wrap up.
okay, awesome. Have I tried the Photoshop AI tool? I don't think so. I think I might have played with it a little bit, but I don't use it enough to um remember anything. um, but Canva has been like I feel like they've incorporated like a lot of the Photoshop um, tools or little trinkets you can use into that application. So that's been like my go-to. So I think I'm like a pro Photoshop person based off Canva, but I'm really not. Yeah.
Oh, it says you said your existing background is fashion. How are you seeing your background giving you a competitive edge compared to someone coming from a digital background only?
um, I don't know. I feel like I would have answered this question differently back then, but now it feels
Mhm.
like um, you could like I didn't go to design school, I didn't go to
Mhm.
fashion school. Um, this was
Mhm.
all kind of like I taught myself how to do these things. I was watching YouTube videos. Um, so
That's amazing.
yeah, I don't yeah, I think both are amazing. As far as competitive edge, um, maybe like the physical touch of things, of fabrics and
Mhm.
things. There's like
Mhm.
we're in digital,
Movement,
you can't do that. Yeah. But maybe one day you will, I don't know. Maybe you'll be
right?
able to like, feel fabrics and stuff through the screen, but yeah.
That's so exciting, and that's super
Yeah,
cool to even learn that, that you learned on your own journey and that you didn't go to school for something like that. I feel like that's very inspirational. I'm inspired.
thank you. Thank you. We have to use all the tools, in our toolbox, so
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah.
So if viewers wanted to connect with you, what platforms could they find you at?
You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active on there. Post a lot, and then also I'm on Instagram, Timarella.ai. There's the link. I have multiple Instagram pages, but that's my AI page. I need to post more on there, so hopefully I'll start doing that more. But yeah, that's it.
So before we head out, any final words for the viewers? Any final thoughts? What's in your head?
Um, if you're new to fashion and tech, I would say just join a community. Honestly, you can reach out to me if you have any questions, and don't limit yourself on what's out
Mhm.
there. Don't think that you Another thing is don't think that you know it all because the world is our oyster, there's just so much to learn,
Absolutely.
and I think being like a student of life, you just get far places, and you just
Mhm.
you meet awesome people, and you find yourself doing things that you never imagined. So
Right. Absolutely. So exciting. Um,
yes,
Thank you so much for your time today. Like I really enjoyed learning about your story and even talking with you. I feel like I'm so excited about like the Alana Magazine podcast and like that you're the
yes,
first guest. I'm so
I
excited.
feel special.
Uh, right. I feel special.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been fun.
Yes, thank you for joining us. And for those of you who want to purchase the Alana magazine, I believe the link is in the description. The Earth edition is out. I'm super excited. Oh, yeah, right there. There's the QR code right there. If you want to purchase the Alana magazine, the QR code is right here. Earth edition is finally out. So, yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.